All right, players. I figured I would use this opportunity of me doing my fucking self service of chores to describe the political economy of literally everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it. So, this is the test of the enlightened person, as Kajev says, right? If I can just say I'm not just doing this because I have to do this or I feel like doing this. So, I have to do some laundry because I got to clean my clothes before I put them in a suitcase and ship them across the country. I put my laundry in at this laundromat. The people who own this laundromat, they're making money off of rent, charging rent and taxes essentially off of the laundry machines that they keep, and they have to pay upkeep for that. Part of that upkeep cost, part of the charge, the same way that they're paying out for the upkeep of their machines is the money out of which they pay for the people who upkeep those machines, because both of them are services. There are no proletarians in the laundromat unless they have a back room where they have a proletarianized service, effectively, where you pay someone to do your laundry for you, and that person gives that laundry to someone who's doing the industrial machinery of doing mass laundry and folding mass laundry. Probably those are two different people, right? There would be the manager of the laundromat in general, and then there would be the person who they hire, right, to do all of that labor. And that person is a proletarian because they are doing the actual commodity work, and they sell their service to the person who owns the establishment. Anyway, so I go next door to the gas station, and what do I see? I see self-service coffee machines. It turns out you can get a cup of coffee, you can get a cappuccino, you can get coffee for cheaper, for $1. It's a buck. It's a buck. I can go in, I can hit the black coffee button, and it will vend me coffee. Okay, I can just go do that. I don't need someone to go make me a coffee for me. In fact, if I want to get milk in it, there's some milk right next to it. I can just put milk in it myself. I didn't get a coffee though, because I want the pure commodity form. I want the true artwork of the Aussie lemonade Monster Energy plus juice, because this shit slaps. So I got one of these, and guess what? The guy's making these, the guy's moving these. Everyone involved with the creation of my Monster Juice Aussie lemonade fucking energy drink, all the people who were in charge of, running the machines, mixing all of this shit together in their bottling plants, their canning facilities, etc. That's proletarian labor. The people who move the boxes that they went into, so they go into the can, and then the cans go into boxes, right? And then these boxes go into trucks. All of these people are proletarians, all the way up until it gets to the gas station. Then what we have is the gas station attendant. We have the service worker who is going to not sell me the Monster Energy drink. The Monster Energy drink was sold to me by their marketers, not by them, not by this guy here. No, he's selling me. He's performing the transaction effectively. That's what he's just there to man the cashier. Okay, he's effectively the teller of the bank of this gas station. I'm going in. I want this commodity that they have like it's a gold bar, and I give them a commodity, in this case credit, ironically, because of a credit card, and I receive my commodity in exchange for my commodity. Where does the gas station attendant make his money? Does he make money in lieu of just handing me that? Is he producing any value? Has he produced any surplus value here? No, he hasn't. He's a service worker. He's an attendant. Okay? It's a retail position. If you've ever worked as like the attendant of like 7-Eleven or Cumberland Farms or anything like that. What I got here is a 76. So we can use this political economy in daily life. It actually explains a lot of things. For instance, why is this laundromat privatized? I think laundry is a public good, personally. I think that laundromats should be opened as public goods that the state runs, such that because everyone needs to clean their clothes. It's a public good, right? I think that the state should have giant laundromats and maybe even a state laundering service. This is my vocation in a way, going way back. The fullers were the launderers of wool, improving basic wool products to fulling them such that they were salable. They were refining commodities here. Um, that would be the proletarianization of laundromats. Would be their monopoly by the state, nationalizing laundry services. That's one thing that the whole service economy has done here is it conflates public goods with private services. All of our public goods become private services. That's the issue. Teachers, right? Teachers are a public good, but now they're private services. And effectively, they're treated as private services, even by the public educators. Because you're contracting with the particular teachers, especially if you're like a teacher's assistant, or you're not even like, you don't get the full role job title of a teacher. You are being, if you're a substitute teacher, you might be being hired out from the substitute teacher agency, So you can get into the weeds on deciding like which part of this is proletarian and which part is not. Are you a proletarian if you're a substitute teacher? It's just that gets very silly. It's all about the production of surplus value versus the creation of immediately consumed use value. This is like as I was saying earlier today. If I think of like this laundromat would charge more if it was really fancy and it was really nice. It had like minimalist club music, and I like walked in and it was like hot women like doing my laundry for me, and I could watch them. They would charge more for that as a service. Okay, maybe that would do well in Japan, like where it's like a mixture of their like their bars they have where like they give you a fake girlfriend to like pretend you're on a date with or whatever. Maybe we do that, but it's like we could have a laundry like a laundry dating service or something. So it's like so you can like simulate. We can sell the experience of doing laundry with your girlfriend. Going to the laundromat. Like we could sell that as a customer experience. That's basically what Starbucks is. Starbucks is the customer experience of being in a cosmopolitan, in a real coffee shop, effectively, in a real cosmopolitan city where there are such things as these sorts of coffee shops. So because you feel like it's degrading to go get your coffee from the gas station, from the little gas station vending machine, it's so classless. It's so it's so it's like not the same, it's that's sort of just like coffee and it's sort of like base form. But what I'm really interested in is the coffee experience, man. It's like more of an art for me. Every single day, I can't just get my cup of coffee. I can't just have Folgers, man. I have particular needs. I'm a bit of a snob. I need my Frappuccino, oat milk, pumpkin spice latte, and I need it not. I don't want to learn how to make it myself, man. Like I got a lot of work to do. Okay, I might be a snob, but I'm also busy. I got a job. I'm not gonna spend all day making my little pumpkin spice latte in the morning. I'm not gonna learn how to make them en masse so that I can, do self-service in that way. What I want is the particular experience, the particular Starbucks experience, the proprietary mixture of proprietary syrups. I want the particular admixture of the Starbucks experience. There's no competing goods for me on this. It is not something that I will substitute with a substitute good. If you offered me a McCafe latte, I would slap it out of your goddamn hands. That's an insult to me. I'm a noble. I have taste. My taste will be respected. Okay? My taste will be respected. I have dignity. I have dignity, which is why I don't drink gas station coffee like a pro. I mean, like a poor person. I mean, like someone who's tasteless. Okay? I'm not some lowly worker, okay? I have a graduate degree. I might be a barista, but I know for a fact that I'm a proletarian because I went to college. Okay? Do you get it? Do you understand? I'm literally going to do this while I do laundry to like make a point. I am doing my own laundry. I could also have hired a service to come pick up my laundry and do it for me. But guess what? I can also just do my own fucking laundry, right? I come here, I pay to rent the machine. It's like $3 for the machine. I pay like how much? Like 20 cents for every 15 minutes or something on the dryer. Yeah, over time, if I owned these machines, it would be cheaper for me. I wouldn't have to spend the money it takes to drive my car full of my laundry to the laundromat. So, yeah, you can. This might be more or less efficient. I think laundromats are probably more efficient than everyone owning laundry machines when you're in a large urban environment with a dense population. It's probably not the best use of resources to split all that up. But I always like having an in unit washer dryer, preferably. But I grew up out in the sticks, so that's really was the major thing. Most people, I mean, I guess we kind of take that for granted, but I kind of like having my own washer dryer. That's nice too. But if we're gonna have laundromats, I think that the state should run them. Because I mean, where else do you launder money? Like the reason why a laundromat is like they want to privatize things like these types of services is because you can endlessly launder money in services because it's impossible to put a complete actual like objective value to what is being created because what's being created is an experience. All right, what's being created is effectively speculative. Like its value is speculative, and who decides how much it's worth? It's we in the market decide if we choose to pay for it. That's how the value is created, is in our imaginations. All right, that's literally it's true. What's up, King? You can talk.
Yo, what up, Logo? Whoop, whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, so yesterday I was trying to get in there real quick. I was on a little break. I was actually working outside doing things like setting tile and everything. And then I saw the discourse. I didn't get to because it was a little busy. I just left. But it's funny because like people not being able to make a distinction between service and production it blows my
It's
fucking
literally
mind.
a distinction that employers make when they write up their types of employees, but the employees themselves cannot make this distinction in their minds.
Right, right. And I made a comment about it being everyone's just worried about alienation. Like everyone wants to be a proletariat in the sense that like, oh, like we're all workers, united, blah blah blah, all that shit. And it's like there's a very distinct difference of what I do versus what you do. Like
See,
there
like
is like
this
there's
is
no
the real
argument.
distinction, right? Is like I support all of the Starbucks workers doing a general
Right.
strike. Like the baristas specifically should just not go to work anymore because baristas shouldn't be a job.
No.
Like, so all of the baristas should just stop going to work. And then what they should do is
Right.
instead of being baristas, if they wanted to do any real revolutionary action, what they would do is get a job at the Starbucks packaging plant and organize that labor. That would mean something, okay? And they can do that. They can do that anytime they fucking
I
want.
know.
But they won't because it's cushier and it's nicer to be a service worker than it is to actually do proletarian labor. And everyone knows this, and they're all coping. They're all coping because, like, I can at least like admit that like I have opportunities to go do proletarian labor. It would not make that enough money as I could make doing services, right? If I have to go get a job right now, I would go be a bartender because I would make more money than if I were to go be a garbage man. Maybe eventually I would make more, like, if you get like unionized, there's particularly good proletarian labor in certain instances, but that's not really open on the entry level position. That's something you kind of have to like set yourself up for, you know? So like, yeah, like working on a highway crew or something like that, right? Like you don't just like get on in there for one of the good positions where, can like, start getting a 401k or, you can having health insurance and shit like that. So if I wanted to get a job right now, I'd probably get a service job. I'm doing a service job right now, so I wouldn't be changing my fucking sector. I wouldn't become more class woke by becoming a barista than I am right now. It wouldn't change anything about my position in the economy and my relation to the means of production. If, however, I worked for the Starbucks warehouse moving freight, that would immediately change my relation to the means of production, like instantaneously.
Right, right. I myself, with my experience, like I have a girlfriend that as a manager at an art store, Michael's, and I tried to have this discussion about the differences. I've had it before, and she has a hard time grasping it. But I'm like, you could go be a manager at the warehouse, or not a manager at the warehouse, but like someone in the trenches of like moving shit around and doing things. You'd have much more leverage in the sense of like what you could do.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's more dignified work because at the end of the day, you're like doing things that actually like matter, you know. And so you can't be like as abused in some senses. This is why it's like we try to get rid of proletarian labor is because it has it has this power over the rest of the economy. Like it has this leverage over the rest of the economy. That's why we like make like for instance, who makes all the license plates? You know, prisoners. Prisoners make all the license plates. Like that's industrial production of something that like we need license plates. People who make license plates are obviously a government, like a public-private partnership here, because you can't just have anyone making fucking license plates. They're like dollars in that sense, where you don't want counterfeit license plates getting manufactured all over the place. But let's say we had can prisoners, the prisoners who are being paid 10 cents an hour, who are technically not even citizens, who have like their rights stripped away because they're felons, can these people actually organize their labor the way that they could if they were free citizens working in the same exact plant? No, they can't because they're literally fucking prisoners. Like they can't work together to stop working and raise their wages. They're not even making real money. They make like commissary script to like pay for other like prison industry produced goods. It's literally like a factory town. All of our prisons are little miniature factory towns, like the kind that existed in like the 19th century. That's where tons of our proletarian labor happens. Nobody fucking talks about that though.
Right, right. Well, being someone that does all this type of work where you have to like lay talent, like produce actual things that are like that you need me. Like you can't like if I don't do this particular work
Then
in
the,
this
the, the
sense, like
work, the next
nothing's
step doesn't
happening.
matter. Yeah, like if you don't have,
Right.
like for instance, this
Like
laundromat. If the people didn't lay the tiles for the floor of this fucking laundromat, they couldn't put the machines on top of it to then extract rents from it. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because like if people could even try to make that dumb argument like where oh yeah like well are you technically providing a service? You didn't go make the tiles and stuff. It's like you don't get it. Like the tiles, the shower ain't gonna get done if I'm not there putting it in and footing grout and all this stupid shit. You don't get
yeah,
it.
but
Like
like,
I have the power to say fuck you and I can leave at any time and say oh the project's not gonna get done because I'm the one doing it. Go find someone else.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And the other thing is that like they're like basically people are saying like that what they're counting this the taking of the coffee, the already finished coffee, grinding it, or like just putting it in the proprietary Starbucks coffee making fucking machine that they have behind the counter, putting that in, pressing the button. And it's like that's labor. And it's like I do that labor at the gas station, I do that labor at the gas station for myself if I'm using their machine. If they have a drip coffee machine and it's empty, and I go, hey, I want to make a cup of coffee to the guy who owns the fucking place. And he's like, oh, it's right there. I could do it myself. Or I could also be like, you come over and you do it. Like that would be like, do you see what I mean? Like Starbucks could be a self-serve environment. You could create Starbucks, you could create coffee shops so that they're all self-serve. It's not impossible.
Well, absolutely. Well, you made that post about that gourmet coffee machine. Like those were all over in the like early '90s. They were in auto malls everywhere. Like now they don't exist because you could just have some labor just go. Yeah, I'll make your coffee. I'll make expensive sugar bullshit and
Yeah,
pay
well,
$6
well,
for
the
it
other
every
thing
day,
is
every
that
fucking day.
what it all comes down to is these types of like artificial, like false consciousness sense of classes in America being these sorts of like income brackets and consumer demographics, where it's really like you go to Starbucks to distinguish yourself from the people who go to McDonald's. You know what I mean? You go to Starbucks to distinguish it from going to Dunkin' Donuts. They're the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. It's just different amusement park rides. It's like I go to Disney to distinguish myself from the people who go to Six Flags because Six Flags is like a little bit like cheaper. Six Flags is like the local alternative, the low cost, like cost saving alternative to the truly prestigious brand of the Disney vacation experience, my friend. Let me tell you, you cannot compare going to Six Flags to going to Disney World. Okay.
Uh, excuse me, logo. I'm a Rainforest Cafe expeditionist. I understand clearly what it's like to be there in the trenches.
Yeah, the Rainforest Cafe charged more because it gave you the ambiance of the fucking rainforest. Like their food wasn't worth more. Like they charge more for the food because what's priced into all of it is the ambiance, the customer experience. But that's what people don't get is that when you sell an experience, you're a service. An experience is not a commodity. An experience is pure use value. It's literally like the greatest example of use value because in its momentary existence, it is exhausted. It exists solely in the exact moment. It's like if you hire someone to play a song for you on the guitar, like I throw a guy $5 and I'm like, hey, play Wonderwall. He plays Wonderwall. When he's done, it's over. It's all done. It's all done. It's all gone. That entire thing is gone. The experience is over. I paid. The experience occurred. I can't get it back. I can't keep it. You know?
God. Yeah, it really just it's funny because I just keep thinking about how much fucking money like Starbucks is the most cuckish thing,
Well, it's not
really,
just
like
that,
in a
but I
whole
think it's like
design.
talking about specifically Starbucks baristas, I think touches on so many different things because Starbucks is also not
Oh yeah,
just a coffee company. It's a lifestyle brand that happens to sell coffee as its major thing that it sells, but not the only, by no means the only thing that it sells. You know, they got those cake pops, they got those other things. They got a ton of proprietary Starbucks brand things that fit in with their conception of themselves as a lifestyle brand. They make partnerships with other brands that they fit into the brand family of the Starbucks lifestyle. You know, they sell CDs. You know, there's a whole Starbucks taste. There's a Starbucks lifestyle associated with it.
it's a true brand.
It's
Yeah,
yeah, which doesn't make it what people think it is. That's the same thing with Disney. Disney is the same way. You know, Disney is a lifestyle is a lifestyle brand that sells a ton of different shit. Starbucks is effectively like the it's a snobbish type of lifestyle brand for a particular type of educated consumer. Where you're like, I don't go to McDonald's and buy their coffee because I saw something on NPR which says that they don't buy fair trade coffee. And so I buy ethically sourced coffee. And what the fuck does ethically sourced mean? What does this mean? Does it, according to who? According to like the Starbucks Foundation's like NGO investigation of itself? You know, is that what fair trade means? What? Oh, this is organic. Oh, so it's like they have better public relations. They appeal more to your target demographic, and then they charge more because that demographic has more disposable income.
right, dude. Yeah, it just all breaks down. Like you can take a like I think the best example probably to like explain it to people would be like a waiter or a waitress. It's like that is the like the fundamental basis of how to describe these kind of jobs.
Yeah, and trust me, man, I've been a waiter, I've been a bartender, I've done service work forever, and I don't have any hate in my heart for service workers. If I did, it would be self hatred, which other people are accusing me of, is just being self hating. But yeah, like that type of work sucks. Also, it sucks more than proletarian work over a long enough time. Like, imagine being a 55-year-old fucking waiter. That sucks. It sucks really fucking bad. It's like kind of humiliating a way where being a 55-year-old pipe fitter, a 55-year-old steel smith or whatever, a 55-year-old concrete pourer, um, that doesn't seem like, you know, a failure.
Right. My father has done tile for about like 30 plus years, and he takes like a lot of pride in what he does. So like everything that he does, like he puts like his personal self into his work, which I can
Yeah,
understand.
I mean,
Like
I
if you
did that
take
as a
pride in what
bartender,
you do.
man. I took pride of my. I take pride.
Right.
I was a great fucking bartender, man. Let me tell you. Like I do. I take pride in whatever work I'm doing. Even when I've had really stupid jobs, like when I worked in a factory, I did the same thing. Like work is all
Right.
work has a nobility in and of itself. It's just, you know, when we're talking about political economy and the relation to the means of production, it's not all the same.
No, not even.
That's like the problem. Is like we should be able to have like theoretical conversations about these things without talking about public relations. You know, it's all public relations. They're like, oh, this is not going to unite an electorate. This rhetoric is not going to align an electorate. This rhetoric is going to piss off some people. It's not going to, you know. It's like, okay, so what? I'm not trying to get Bernie to win. You know what I mean? Like I have different goals than they do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But it's fun. I'm literally doing my laundry right now. I'm like putting it in the dryer.
Are you
I'm
self-servicing
self.
yourself? Is this like
Wait, you can just. What are you supposed to do? Make your own coffee? What are you supposed to do? Do your own
wait?
laundry?
You could, wait. You mean I could put a K cup in a Keurig and I could just coffee?
What?
What?
I can just buy coffee. I could just learn how to make drip coffee myself. I could which would actually save me money on going to Starbucks every fucking day, like an idiot. I swear, I also just hate,
Oh,
I hate Starbucks because it's overpriced garbage too. Like, I like shitty coffee.
right.
I like diner coffee. Like, go to a diner, you know? Like, what if we just got rid of all the Starbucks and it's like, oh, you want a cup of coffee? Go to the diner. You know, diners are way better.
Yeah, like you could go to fucking IHOP or Denny's, and it's like
Oh,
it's pretty decent. It's not
but then you're
bad.
gonna run into a different kind of clientele, and that might ruin your customer experience if you're, you know, those Waffle Houses get a little rowdy.
Yeah, it's
There's a
too
lot of
noisy.
those
Too many kids, too many people
there's a
around.
lot of those workers there, you know, those other kind of workers who are uneducated.
I wonder who these workers are. I don't. Yeah, I just can't relate
I
to
just
them.
can't relate to these people who go to Waffle House instead of Starbucks. You know, like, are they even human? You have to ask yourself, like these people at Walmart, these people who buy their instant coffee at Walmart, are these even human beings? Like, do they even know what the joys and splendor of the Starbucks experience? No, they look down on it. They said that I'm an idiot for going to Starbucks. They told me that I'm getting ripped off. They don't even know. They just have no taste. They just have no taste. I hate these people. They probably vote for Trump.
Damn. Yeah, it's just funny because it's been a span of how many days of the same. Like people just can't
It'll
grasp
literally
it, and it
be
just
decades
blows
of
my
this. If I
fucking
wanted
mind.
to, I could make this the rest of my life and talk about this every single fucking day.
Dedicate yourself.
I could talk about this every single fucking day, go campus to campus and be like the Ben Shapiro of arguing about what actually is meant by the proletariat and being like, oh, it triggered another service worker. Like, they literally are dogs when it comes to reacting like this. They just feel like their unique subjectivity or whatever is offended because they don't think that they think that they should be like respected more than they are, you know, most effectively. And you know, that does suck. It sucks to work a job that no one respects. I've done it. No one respects my job, you know.
Oh yeah,
What's funny is that they'll be like, oh, what do you do, like, right on the internet? It's like, yeah, I also work another job that no one respects. It's
right.
like, no,
Yeah,
people
I've
don't
worked in.
respect me more, like when I was a bartender.
Oh yeah, no, I've worked in retail sales for about like a decade, and like you don't. You're just a cog, dude. You don't exist. You just you just do said inputs, and that's it, man. You just sell, and no one really will ever get to know you. You just do this said thing and do the script and sell. That's it.
Well, it's not like it's any different. Like, you know, like my dad was a teacher for decades. He doesn't really feel that different about his job at the end of the day than people I know who've retired after doing other jobs. You know, he was like, and like he was like totally opposed to these to these sector unions. Like, you know, teachers unions suck. I always talk about that, but you don't want a baristas union either. That would suck. That would suck real bad. But also, then you have to ask, like, who's in this baristas union? Is it just the Starbucks baristas, or do the Starbucks baristas also organize the McDonald's workers? Like, is this all just going to be a total service sector union? Like, you could imagine that. Like, you could imagine organizing it such that all the things that would qualify as service work are all put together in like this type of like government temp agency or something. Like let's imagine Indeed or like Monster.com or something was nationalized, and this is how we allocated labor. Was that if like you wanted to go into the services, these were all done out of this one like service employment thing, and this meta service of providing services, like a temp agency does, was run by the state. I guess you could do that. That might be that's definitely more revolutionary than a fucking Starbucks, specifically Starbucks baristas union.
Could you say, in a sense, that doing service is in a form of performance?
It is. Yes, absolutely. That's why
Right.
it's
Okay.
difficult to judge the exact objective value. Like, you know, because you have to like these people are like literally trying to sell the idea that the actual value that the barista adds is in the mixing of the coffee cup itself, of like putting the hot water through the grains, etc. Like this thing that people do every morning. I did this myself this fucking morning. The people things people do every single morning for themselves without thinking of it as like worth money. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh man, like this amount of water, me turning this thing with this my kettle onto the grounds on my drip coffee. This is like $2. Like this is like my working of the wrist here is like $2. It's not like that. What's priced into the end result of the Starbucks experience is the entirety of the Starbucks experience. What's priced into that is like how much it costs them to do the to pay the janitors and other things to keep the thing clean, the renting of the retail space itself, and the licensing for the music that plays, and all of these other things. These are it's all priced in. It's all priced into the Starbucks Frappuccino experience.
Mm-hmm. It also ties back into that whole idea of like capitalism and commodifying every fucking possible thing you could think
Well,
of.
that's
It's
that's
like
like
every
that's the
action.
problem with these types of like service worker false consciousness shit, is that you end up with like NFT three brain, where okay, um, so we're just gonna like so like basically the idea is that like each Starbucks, so should each Starbucks worker be paid also like piecemeal by how many lattes they make, and like how much each of those specific lattes require different types of work. Like they're getting paid less when they serve just a black iced coffee, but they get paid like a fraction of a penny more on exchange every single time they make one that requires like mixing in their like honeycomb foam or whatever. It's insanity.
What is it, like the fucking the bathroom butlers or whatever those things are? It's like that.
Yeah, the
Like
groom of the
commodify it.
stool.
Like
Like this is the thing,
yeah.
is that like service work is older than proletarian work. That's the other thing, is that it's like
Oh yeah.
service work has been around for way longer. Proletarian work is what is new. Like that's what the new type of work is. Like being a barista is actually
Right.
old, realistically. Like the same effective
Yeah.
type of work existed in the
You could
past.
right. You could describe as proletarian work is moving the machine, and then like service is in the machine kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah.
Like you're working for it rather than you're moving the machine, working the system.
Like the amount of work that goes into actually the Starbucks experience is not considered by people, because they think that Starbucks just is. It just is. It's like you walk into it like a tree or something that's just growing out there in nature. But it's like, no, it exists on top of all of this labor that's like built the building, that built the street around it, that built all of this shit around it. Like it's not just, it doesn't just emerge ex nihilo. Like and then people just start working there. Like it was built, it was like franchised, like all of this was done. And this is actually like more, if you're talking about like hard work in the service industry, the CEO of this company works harder than a barista. I'm sorry libtards, I'm sorry, but like people who make a lot of money also do a lot of work too. you know like you don't want to be an investment banker, let me tell you. You don't want to be a consultant. Those jobs fucking suck. You may make a lot of money, but you're never going to do anything that you want to do in your entire life. You're going to be working literally 24/7. Shit sucks, man.
Right.
Like that's the thing, is like
Oh
how
yeah.
do like our society is a service society, it provides the services for the wealthy across the world, and we extract all of our surplus value from the third world, and that's how it is, because we finance we service the like bourgeois of those countries, of the third world countries. We service them. Like they come to America, or like they've privatized, like let's say the lithium supply, and they're like, how should I organize this lithium? I know what I'll do. I'll hire McKinsey, this consulting service, who has the best servants, the best financial servants, trained at Harvard and Stanford and Yale and blah blah. I have the best financial servants, some of the smartest minds, and I'm going to put them to work on organizing this lithium supply chain, which I privately own as a third world bourgeois. Like that's really how things work.
Right. Well, I got one more thing about before I go, because I got to get back to work on my project. What do you think of mailmen and garbage men?
I think they are both proletarians. That's proletarian labor, because they're like
Yeah.
that's as Marx puts it, like they're like, God, it's hard to quote directly from like the fucking footnotes of the Grundrisse, but effectively what they're doing is like their labor is like necessary for the entire fucking enterprise here. Like a mailman is doing the same shit as the supply stock of like moving freight in general. Even if it's just mail, even if it's just letters, they're doing one of the like most vital services, one of the most vital fucking productions of surplus value that there is moving goods. Moving goods, transport, like the basically the four proletarian labors, like agriculture, um, industry, as in like the production of things, transportation, and basically like cleaning, basically like sanitation. these things are the four proletarian labors. You need all of these things. You can't have a Starbucks if it's not clean. Like you can't open it up if it's like full of rats. You know, like that's
Right.
one of the vital jobs. That's more vital than having enough baristas. Like this, the store manager, if they were manning the store by themselves, could effectively run the store by themselves. But if it wasn't clean, they couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's not organized or clean in any way, you're fucked. It's over. Like even in the form of these ways of being in the future being like automated, which I don't think you can even get like it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Good luck on that, automating any type of that shit. I don't know. You have to like design certain ways. Yeah. It's just too much to even think about.
Yeah, like a self-cleaning store or something. Like we'll have like cleaning robots. But then it's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to somewhat have someone like their job is gonna be owning these robots effectively and servicing the robots, making sure that they're kept up. You
Right. Right. Because there's always gonna the human element can't you can't escape the human element. We're always there. It's always gonna be that way.
yeah.
Like you just there's yeah, it's always that.
Like the problem is that like the problem is like people are mad. Effectively, they're right that I'm saying that like service workers tend to have a bourgeois class consciousness if they're only interested the interests of themselves and not themselves insofar as their interests are aligned with the interests of the proletariat. Like if you're a real service worker, if it's like, hey, would it be better? Would it be better for the Starbucks warehouse workers if we shut down the retail sector in its entirety and redistributed all of that capital that's made, which allows the retail sector to exist in the first place, the Starbucks retail to exist in the first place? Should all of that capital instead go into the wages of the people growing the coffee beans? Yeah, it should. So that in that case, as a Starbucks barista, your position would be like, I'm working this job, but I believe that it shouldn't exist. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing this, like I'm in this position, but like I'm conscious of the fact that like in the future, if there is communism and we are successful and you know organizing things to give the full fruit of value to the proletarian class, that Starbucks baristas will not be a job. It won't exist. But if you're like, hey, I want to do this job. I just want to make $50 an hour. You're going to be doing that by like all of that money that will be paid out to you is coming from the profits produced by the coffee growers and the coffee refiners, and that's where it's going to come from. It's not going to. They're like, well, why don't they just cut the executive salaries? Why don't they just pay CEOs less? Well, because CEOs are worth more than you. I'm sorry, baristas, but the CEO does a lot more complicated work than you do as a service. And the Starbucks brand can survive without its entire retail wing, but it can't survive without its CEO. The CEO would be the one who's managing it through selling off all the commercial real estate and reorienting the supply chains and all of this. That's who would do it. It would be the CEO. It wouldn't be the baristas. It wouldn't be the union of baristas changing the entire economic organization of the Starbucks corporate enterprise. God damn. The
Go
thing
off,
is though, is that,
Logo.
like people
Go
just
off.
like these people like they have no respect. They have no respect for like authority in a real sense. In the sense that like they think that like a CEO does no work. Nothing. Does nothing. Doesn't do anything. I as a barista am doing more work than the CEO of Starbucks. Probably not true. Probably not true. Probably not true. CEO of Starbucks, his life is Starbucks. He's owned by the brand, like his entire. Like, if you think you're a servant of Starbucks, look at the CEO. The CEO is like fucking the biggest servant of the fucking corporate enterprise in the world. Like, their whole life is devoted essentially to be on the beck and call of the corporation whenever he's needed. I wouldn't want to do that. That's a lot of service for a brand. They get compensated in line with how much service they're really giving the fucking company.
Oh yeah, to an extent, especially if it's like a multi-billion or even close to a trillion dollar business. Sounds like almost in a way hell, and you have to outsource your own type of like management and
Yeah,
shit.
and
Because
those are the
if I
people
was in that position,
like so these CEOs that let's just say they're like the super service workers. They're like the service workers, but like you started out as a barista, you work your way up to shift lead, you work your way up to regional manager, you work your way up to branch manager of the dish of like the whole fucking canton, the Starbucks canton of the Northeast corridor or whatever. You're in charge of like organizing the supply chains of that. You work your way all the way up through all of the different service positions of servicing the capital of this company, and you can make it all the way up to the CEO. Why? Like, what point did your class change?
didn't.
Exactly, it didn't the whole time. Not the whole entire time. Your class didn't change at all. You just make more money. We also work more.
The CEO is a glorified barista.
It's true.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's funny.
It's true. I mean, it's funny. It's funny. It is funny. I mean, pretty much everything is funny in that sense because, like, what?
Final boss barista.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, I just like, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean that you're of a different class. You know, we've also like socialized so much of like we've re-socialized everything. Our mode of this is like Haas wrote such a good piece because it's very hard to explain exactly what this type of financial socialism really is, and it's because we've socialized through the market. You know what I mean? So it's like we've socialized by putting everything into the market. So it's like your 401k is makes you a bourgeois, according to the if we're going to go by purely doctrinaire and 19th century conceptions of political economy. If you have a 401k program or your company's providing you insurance, then you're bourgeois. So that's effectively like what we're trying to do here. Like it's so fucking backwards, man. Because what you actually want is you want all of these services, these things to be supplied by the state. So like that would mean that your wages would go down. Let's say you didn't have to pay for rent and you didn't have to pay for health insurance because you have a house or like you have your apartment like given to you by the state effectively and you have your insurance given to you by the state. Um, how much your cost of living is just like completely been erased for the most part. The vast majority of your cost of living has been erased. You include utilities on that, you have almost nothing on a cost of living. You have to pay. You're paying for food, right? You're paying for food and like services on top of that, like doing your laundry or things like that, buying shit. That's the whole point. Is you don't want to just raise wages. You don't want everyone to be like every single job to be like, oh, like I have the same benefits package that the CEO has as a barista. Like it seems it's just stupid. It's all backwards. None of these companies should be providing benefits packages like this at all. They should only be providing capital. They should only be paying you money. Like the idea that the companies are paying you in your fucking public services, your meat, is insanity. It's literally slavery. It's literally a servant economy, and that's the problem with this Build Back Better, Great Reset shit. Is that they want to turn everyone into a service worker, the entire thing into a service work, and basically what that means is that it's like, okay, well, everyone's gonna like, no one will be working for money because you will have to work in exchange for like living in the Facebook office plantation, you know, like, and this is like where because Facebook is a service is all service work. It's not a single proletarian at Facebook, not a single one. The entire thing is service, top to bottom. It's all service. It's literally like just a phone book. It's like a directory. It's literally just a service. It used to be run by the state. Facebook shouldn't even be a private company. Probably it should just be like, I don't know. Facebook shouldn't even exist. What am I saying? It's a stupid fucking thing. Um, has no value whatsoever, except for the military intelligence state and things like that, and advertising. But it doesn't have any real value. It doesn't produce any real value. It just sells data that it acquires effectively extra legally. Oh man, that's what Facebook really does. There's not a single proletarian working at Facebook. Not one. Not a single proletarian working at Google. Not a single one. There's some who might be working for Google. They're setting the lines, the Google fiber lines, but that's that's not what we mean. We're not talking about the Google office workers. All these bullshit jobs shouldn't exist either. That's the thing is like things would be so much better. We'd have such a more efficient economy if we stopped having everyone servicing each other all the time. Because like everything's these subscriptions anyway. If you're running like a major enterprise, you're like in miniature, like or maybe in macro scale, the average person with all of their subscriptions today. If you're a restaurant, you have to have a Spotify subscription too. If you want to run ESPN, you got to have that subscription at your bar. You know, you're gonna subscribe to the cleaning service or whatever. Like it's all subscriptions, and you're gonna pay essentially a subscription to whatever legal counsel you have. You're gonna pay a subscription. Like that's how it all is. Like law, like the most elite law services and things are subscription services. And then
Oh
if
yeah.
you're really rich, then you get like a personal retinue, and you're like, I have this, like, I have my pet, my fucking guy, my lawyer who's mine. He works for me. All he does is represent my interests.
Exactly. It's kind of funny because like you talk about the subscription or any type of that kind of thing. Like just the other day, I went to go get some gas and some stuff at the gas station, and AMPM was pushing a little card for all these little programs. I'm like, what the fuck? You're a gas station, bro. Relax.
Well, the thing is that like they all want to turn into banks. It's like airlines are effectively banks. They don't even really sell. They don't even. They're really a financial services industry with their frequent flyer miles and things like that. And also these major corporations and businesses, they have like they pay like these sorts of like exclusivity deals even with airlines because they're some of the major clients. That's why we have like even business class flights is because the airlines exist to facilitate financial transactions globally. That's why we built up the airline industry and like after the world wars, Pan American Airlines and things like that. The whole tourism industry, like tourism is entirely service. Also, by the way, um, so we built this like we built up this like massive service industry. Like that's America. We're global servants of capital. Like we are capital's number one servants. We do the best service work. And like we take pride in it. I mean, I don't think there's anything not to take pride in service work in and of itself. I mean, we do have like really good arts and crafts and things like that. We have like really good movies. You know, those are all craft guilds, and those are all like service work. For the screen, the cinematographers guild. One of the cinematographers guild representatives was mad at me yesterday. I was like, "You're not a proletarian. You make art. You're like a fucking you make theater, like like what? How is this proletarian labor? You're making art. Art isn't proletarian labor. We want art to exist,
Right,
but
right.
everyone can make art. You can make it. You don't have to like. We don't need to have professional artists. You know, you can. Everyone's a. What makes someone a professional artist is that they have made things. They've made uh something that people want to buy. But wanting to buy art doesn't mean it's good or not. Like if it's free, you don't necessarily want to buy it. Like I like a lot of music. I'm like, wow, this song I like really appreciate this song. There's so much artistry in this. Like as a fucking like intellectually, I like this. I like how it's structured. I like it just as a sound, purely aesthetically or whatever. But it's also free on YouTube. Like it could be a free mixtape. You know, that doesn't make it worth any more to me because I paid for it or not as an artwork. I mean, mostly like the books I've read for free. Like the idea that like me, if I had paid $100 to read Shakespeare, I would have appreciated it more.
Well, yeah, even with me, like I'm with my project that I'm working on, it's like I know that like what I would be inevitably doing and working on if it gets anywhere, it's I'm providing a service. Like it's not going to be proletariat work. It's
Yeah,
not a machine
my
moving
ideal is like
anything.
I want to be a service for proletarians. Like I want to teach like whoever like people. I want to be like real, and I think I do a pretty good job of that because when I talk to people who actually are like doing real proletarian labor, the people who do exist who do that, people I know who are like pipe fitters or working at the train yards, moving freight and shit like that. Um, when I explain political economy to them, they get it. Okay, like they understand. Like they don't believe that baristas are their fucking compatriots, man. Like they're not fucking stupid. That's the funny thing is that like all of these people, they're so fucking absorbed in their self conscious, in their up their own ass, in their own like myopic little theoretical like social democrat anarchist theory reading bubble that they don't even know how to talk to actual proletarians who don't give a fuck, who don't know the word proletariat. You have to explain it to them. You have to define it to them. And all these people would define it completely retardedly. They would define it so wrong. They wouldn't. That's the funny thing is like they're the people you want. Like, no, I don't want you to go talk to these people because you are the reason why everyone hates communists in America. You are the reason why everyone hates these people in America. You are the reason why people think Karl Marx is like evil in America. It's because of people like you who are like going to these people who do real proletarian labor and being like, the Starbucks baristas union, like we're the same. We're literally the same. They know that you're not. They know that that's not true.
Right. Well, funny thing is, like I just realized this that I have a roommate that works for Penske, and he actually delivers directly solely to Starbucks. Oddly enough, and it's funny because like he's like their job, and the reason what they contract Penske to deliver like their milks and products and stuff. I'm like, you don't realize like if you could get these people to realize like you can get all the truckers to get on one side and agree like, hey, we could stop this whole thing. You could ruin a majority of Starbucks in the area just on
Yeah,
that
but for
alone. Like
instance,
they have.
what if those Starbucks, like, it's like, okay, sorry, retail staff, but we can't close because these truckers are striking and we can't get our product. We can't find a way to change the supply chain to go around this trucking service that we hired out. We can't get our milk and we can't get our coffee. So we can't open the store for today, which means that we can't pay you for today because you can't work here because it can't open because we don't have the supply for it to be profitable for us to have it open. So the store is going to be closed. And those people are like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I have bills to pay. I have bills to pay. These truckers need to fucking have some solidarity and think about me. Okay, these truckers need to have some solidarity. Like we need to work together to fight management here, but not at my expense. Like the truckers should be considerate of me, the barista, who now can't come into work and I have bills due. I'm not gonna. This I was counting on this shift.
What are you gonna have the truckers make the coffee? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. Look, that's why their interests actually are opposed. They're opposed, and they would be opposed as revealed by circumstances in actual reality. That's just how it is. Like these things aren't proven in theory. These things are proven outside of you. These things are proven just by looking around and being like, does my theory explain things that actually happen, or does it not like completely mystify and make it more difficult to understand things? You know, like I think my theory is pretty simple. I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty elucidative. Like it clarifies things. It clarifies things. If all of the third world coffee farmers said we are going on strike and we're not selling our coffee beans to Starbucks unless they pay us twice as much as they have been, what would happen to baristas?
It ceases. It's ops.
They wouldn't have. They'd be out of a job. And so then what? And
Yeah,
why?
exactly.
Who put them out of a job? Well, management, they should have just paid the Starbucks worker. They should have paid the coffee bean growers more, and they should have taken that out of the executive salary. That's what they'll say. And it's like, well, they're not going to take it out of the executive salary because then who would order this to happen? Who's gonna be there to do that? The CEO is the executive is going to be the one making these decisions about who they have to pay. Guess what the executive is going to do? The executive is going to be like, well, you know what? If we have no other way of acquiring the raw material of unprocessed coffee beans except through these farmers, we literally have no choice but to pay them twice as much, or else we don't have any business at all. So we're going to pay them twice as much. And the way we're going to pay for that is we're going to shut down all of our retail locations. We're going to shut them all down. We're going to save a ton of money on commercial real estate. And one of the things that they pay for with commercial real estate, the rents on that, is just the entirety of baristas are included as that on that chart of payments. So if they shut down all of their retail locations, there would be no more baristas. And guess who would profit from that? The proletariat. The proletarian coffee fucking growers. That's who would make the money. They would make twice as much money and there'd be no more baristas. I like that. That's what I want.
Right. Just it's that whole, what is it called? What was the term? Some just not bunk, but what was it? Just yeah, it's just like ultimately just performance services in general. Like there's too much of it. There's just to the point where it's
It's
the
also de-skilling.
majority of how America
It's
functions.
de-skilling. It's like infantilizing. Like these people can't make their own fucking coffee. Like Jesus.
I think well, right. Well, I think it's more of like, it's comfort. It's easy. It's easy in a way. Oh, I'll just go get someone to do it
Oh,
for
they'll
me
go
rather
make
than
my
like
bottle for
5 minutes
me.
to
They'll
go
warm it
pop a
for me, and they'll
cup.
put it up to my mouth. It's their children.
Oh, put the bib on. Put the little bib on. Here's your
Well, that's
coffee.
the thing, though, is that like acting like a child is kind of like a high status. That's like what the Bohemians get to do. That's like if you're truly rich, you get to act like a fucking infant. So like these people are like, no, but
Holy shit!
I want to be like a bourgeois infant. Like I want to be like a child to be like, I want the whipped cream on it. I said I wanted the whipped cream on it. I said I wanted the whipped cream on it. That's what they want. They want to be able to whine and yell at the
Right,
workers
right.
and be an infant. It's a fucking infantile bullshit. I hate it. I hate it.
You put the whipped cream on. I'm gonna throw this at you.
I ordered it with the whipped cream and special for me. It's an individual coffee experience for me as the customer. It's not just
Oh
coffee. I
shit.
won't just drink my coffee, so I ordered it with whipped cream on top.
Oh my. Oh shit, man. That's
That's your job.
crazy.
Your job is to
Well,
listen to me. I said I wanted my whipped cream on my coffee.
all right. Oh shit. I'll talk. I can talk about this all day, but I got to
All
head
right,
out and
cool.
get
I'll
some
see if
stuff done.
other
It was
people.
good
Yeah,
talking to
I'm
you.
literally just pacing in my laundromat, talking to myself. People are staring at me. But yeah,
Oh, look at
I'll
that fucking
I'll
schizophrenic
let you
talking
know. I'll
about
keep going.
coffee and proletariat labor. Fuck that guy, weirdo. All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah. Whoop whoop. Oh man, what's up, Mage and Seinfeld Tron?
Yo, what's up? You know how
I'm
I feel about
literally
it.
at the laundromat. I've got like 20 minutes left on my dryer, I think.
That's nice. If only there was someone else to do your laundry, like a
Yeah,
nice
I should.
service worker.
Well, you know what? I could have. You know what? I could have. I could have hired the service. There's a ton of competing laundry services, actually. There's a ton of people I could have hired out to come pick up my laundry, do my laundry, fold it for me, bring it back to my house. And you know what? Maybe if I made like six figures, maybe if I made a fuck ton of money, I'd be like, you know what? I think it's worth it to me because I don't like doing laundry. I'm just gonna pay this fucking slave. I'm gonna pay this servant to come, this servant service to come service me and do my laundry for me because it's not worth my time. My time's worth a lot of money because I make $50 an hour. And this good laundry takes me what, like an hour and a half? Ooh, that's like $75 according to how I value my time. And this service, this
Ah, jeez, I can't do this laundry. I got some Slack messages to
oh
answer.
boy, my time is very valuable on this on the emails here. I'm making $100 an hour as a consultant. I don't know if I can really justify doing my own laundry. I mean, it's only $20 to hire someone else to do it. So, isn't this efficiency? Isn't this market efficiency?
This is lovely. Have you ever had the zombie frappuccino from Starbucks
You mean
from
the
Halloween?
zombie frappuccino experience?
Yeah, it has pink whipped cream and it's caramel apple flavored.
Well, the thing that I really
And
want
then
is
when all of the flavors combine, it tastes like vomit. So it kind of does like taste like a dead body.
see see
And
see what I want is I want Monster Energy to open up a bunch of retail locations where all of the former Jamba Juices are. They're going to do a merger. They're going to take over all the Jamba Juices because what I want is I want to be able to go in and I don't want to just get my Aussie lemonade commodity canned Monster, which comes in boxes and is just like everyone else's Aussie lemonade Monster. It's so uniform. What I want is I want to be able to come in and get my Monster from the various different flavors and add mixtures. I want to be able to design and demand someone else make me a unique energy tonic, an energy tonic smoothie slushy combination, new commodity. It's a totally new experience, and I want to be able to like refine my particular desires beyond just this
so like
base.
the build a lightsaber
Yes,
thing
yes,
in Star Wars land.
pretty much, yes. But I want that for like my energy tonic. So I don't because I like this basic Aussie lemonade flavor. Like it's sort of like the basic like Starbucks Frappuccino. But what I want is something even more particular. What I want that is I want that mixed with the mucho mango, right? I want that the Aussie lemonade and the mucho mango mixed together in like one of those like Slurpee machines. So it's like frozen, you know.
And
And then
then
I
they can
want them
add
to
like a
put
little
whipped
like
cream on
scoop of
top.
glycine at
And I
the
want them
end.
to put whipped cream on top of it. And if they don't put fucking whipped cream on top of it, I'm going to lose my shit. Okay? I'm fucking had it up to
True.
here with these fucking guys.
You know, my mom goes to Starbucks and specifically buys cake pops and then puts them in a jar at home as a snack later. I don't know. I'm very familiar with this whole Starbucks fandom.
It's a thing.
Um,
It's a yuppie thing. It's to distinguish yourself from like McCafe. McCafe is like solidly lower middle class. Is like going to McDonald's. McDonald's breakfast Dunks for us up in the Northeast. We go to Dunks, okay, because Dunks is cheaper than Starbucks, and they give you a fuck ton of coffee. It's a huge. You get a huge coffee.
I mean, well, and you don't want to eat the like, grocery store brand like sugar slather cookies. You want the Starbucks cake pop that looks like a cute little
You'll
animal.
actually pay more for less food because it's more aesthetic, and you can take a picture of it.
It's so cute. It's so desu.
And you can
Yeah.
go onto your Instagram. You can be like, having my daily Starbucks cake pop because this is my lifestyle. This is my Starbucks lifestyle. And you share that with other people, and the people, and they're like, whoa, she must be doing pretty well for herself. She's living the Starbucks lifestyle. You know, here I am. I'm not making nearly as much as she is because she can afford to live the Starbucks lifestyle and flex on me. A barista, don't make nearly as much as a consultant. So even though I work for Starbucks, I don't really afford Starbucks. Like even with the employee discount, I still go to the gas station and I make my own coffee because I'm a proletarian.
Making your own coffee is so hard, though.
Dude, what do you mean?
I can't get the ratios right. It's so hard.
It's like a very unique type of labor. It's very skill oriented. It's very tiring. It's a lot to ask of me. I think it's a little ableist to say that people can make their own coffee. What if you're a quadriplegic, huh? What if you're a quadriplegic? Can you make your own coffee then? I bet you feel bad now. I bet you feel bad. I bet you would feel really bad if you screamed in a quadriplegic's face that he should make his own coffee, which is effectively what you've done. I'm disgusted.
Don't we already have like Alexa hooked up coffee? I mean, I know there's Alexa coffee machines for fucking like canned cocktails
Even
where you
coffee
load in the
machines
whiskey.
are like bourgeois to me. Like, get a fucking drip. Like, you get the fucking grounds, you put them in the cone-shaped fucking bag, the cone-shaped like paper. You put that in the drip thing, and you just pour hot water on top of it, and you make the best cup of coffee. I don't get it. It's very easy.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I mean, espresso is kind of different.
I don't give a shit about espresso. But even you can get.
I don't really either.
I literally got an espresso
like
maker, like a stovetop espresso maker. You can get for literally. I remember when I lived in the ghetto of New York,
like $15.
I went to like the like Chinese like like garbage store, like their version of like the dollar store, and I bought one for $2. Like, and then I bought a big thing of Cafe Buscello or whatever, and I made myself espressos all the fucking goddamn time. It cost me like 10 cents maybe. Like 10 cents an espresso, tops.
Yeah, I mean, I make myself pumpkin spice lattes. I mean,
it's really not that hard. Like, it's really not.
No, it's not.
Like, that's the other thing is like it's this de-skilling of everyone where it's like literally like, so we create inefficiencies by making people retarded. So it's like, oh, I can't make my own coffee the way that they do. And it's like, yeah, you could.
Yeah, they think that they can't because it's like connected to the whole fandom thing. You know what I mean? Like there's a coffee store in California called like Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, and they make their own brand of frappuccinos.
Well, it's like,
and it's like, what makes these so creamy?
What's funny is that
I can't do that.
The coffee shop is literally the origin of the stock market. Also, people don't realize this is that next to the stock exchange in London, there was the coffee shop, and that is where you would go to get to talk to stockbrokers. Okay, because the coffee shop is also an experience. Like, going to the coffee shop is like the experience of like the cosmopolitan bourgeois is the coffee shop talking about the stocks and sitting there with the newspapers. You used to go to a coffee shop, you pay to drink your coffee, but then you also can read all of the shit they had there. It's like a little reading library. And that's what, like, the community coffee shop was like. It was like you go and you pay, you're paying for the coffee, but you're really paying so you can hang out in the coffee shop.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing really wrong with that. Like, in my ideal future, we would have these nice public places. Like, maybe, like, the library is like this public place that people actually go to, as opposed to like having just homeless people jack off in them. You have a library, and it has a bunch of like self-service like coffee and things like that. Like, wouldn't that be great? So it's like, instead of going to Starbucks, I'm going to like the community center where people gather, and I can make my own coffee and just hang out there. And then it's like, oh, now I'm like invested in the commons. Like, instead of replacing this notion of the commons with these private artificial commons, like the Starbucks, where your community is based in Starbucks, and like you can come meet your NGOs here or whatever at the Starbucks Foundation, Starbucks charities, etc. No.
Do you know anyone who collects all the cups? They're like, I'm traveling all across America. The theme park of the world is every Starbucks on my road trip, where I get the special. Yeah, all the secret Mickey cups.
Oh, that collection. that collection. It's weird. It's interesting. Like you can only explain these things like psychologically because it's like, why do people go to Starbucks? It's not for coffee. It's not that simple, you know. Like it's not just for coffee because you can get coffee in a million different forms, in a million different ways. Like that's not the reason people go to Starbucks. Starbucks is a lifestyle. You know, they advertise everywhere, and they're not advertising their coffee. They're advertising like, you know, the type of person who goes to Starbucks. So when you go to Starbucks, you're like, I am the type of person who goes here, and like that's a service to your fucking psychology. It's like therapeutic, retail therapy.
Yeah, I mean, it, and then, well, and then every other coffee shop just models themselves after this. I mean, like fucking Phil's in San Francisco does the same shit.
Except it's better
Um, it is better actually.
because it's even more niche.
Um,
They were like, is Starbucks a little bit too like Phil's is like if you're like super elite, you know, like like Starbucks is for the wannabe bourgeois, but like Phil's is like for like the real like people who actually have taste and not just like the presentation of taste. Like that's the thing about like all of these different coffee shops is that they're just different levels of snobbery.
that's true. I had 2 cups of Phil's yesterday. It was
Yeah,
delicious.
like if I'm gonna pay $5, if I'm gonna pay way too much for coffee, I'm gonna go to fucking Phil's. I like the top of the line and the bottom of the line. I hate middle brown garbage like Starbucks.
Yeah, I agree. Starbucks is midwit
Like
trash.
if I'm gonna pay for a service, I want a fine service. You know, like otherwise I want to do it myself. I either want like a top of the line service that like is beyond my skill level, my reasonable ability to acquire the skill to do that, like going to like a Michelin star restaurant. I'm like, I'm not gonna acquire the skills to do this, but it's worth it to me to pay this much money because it's something that I could never make for myself ever. Like it would take me like a lifetime of devotion to be able to make this for myself.
Yeah, I mean what's another one? There's Alfred. Like Alfred is the same shit. I mean, they're all, all of the
I was
bougie
thinking of
coffee shops.
the one here. There's the one here called in SF called Ritual, and it has like it's like even more. It's pushed even further. It's like the Maoist coffee shop. It's like this. This is even more. This is like the revolutionary anarchist coffee shop. You know,
Hmm.
where their whole thing is like that like you know they'll have like articles there you can read about how Starbucks isn't actually truly living up to its brand mission of being fair trade and organic and like you know cruelty free or whatever. And they're like, we truly ethically source our coffee and we can prove it. We have the supply chain
What?
painted on the wall.
What? Starbucks doesn't live up to my sentiments? What the
Wait a minute,
heck?
their public relations campaign wasn't real? It wasn't true?
That wasn't sincere? What?
Wait, who checked on it? You're telling me that they just checked themselves and they just lived up to standards that they invented for themselves?
Wait, the Starbucks fairness fact checker lied to me?
Can we go to Geneva and make sure that and to try these people who have invented a category called organic but doesn't actually like really fit like what we colloquially understand organic to mean?
That shit is actually fucking evil. I hate that. I hate all of
That's like
this.
the problem with regulations. Like everyone's like, oh, we just need more regulations, and it's like, well, the regulations are just creating mystifications, like this notion of like cage-free eggs. It's like what? Oh, because they were kept in translucent plexiglass. So that's not a cage.
Yeah, they can like see the field. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cage free.
Or
And now
like
you can
the
charge more.
well with like the with like beef for example, it's like for them to be like organic, you only need to feed them like a certain percentage of organic food, and then
Yeah,
like
exactly.
for it to be like grass fed, it only needs to be like 51% grass. The other 50% or 49% can just be like corn trash, like plastic slop, and it's just like totally fine.
Yeah, that's how it works.
American raised wagyu.
I mean, that's the problem with all these people like well regulations. Oh, we're gonna just do regulations, and it's like, well, the regulations are bullshit. Like they're made up. Like who gets to make them up? Oh, Starbucks did. They lobbied to make up their own regulations for who could be deemed cruelty free or whatever, and they made it so that they could be compliant with those regulations. But like a normal coffee shop can't because they can't afford to hire the like NGO lawyer type people were going to be like do the paperwork to be like, hey, we're compliant with these regulations, so we're allowed to present ourselves to the consumer as organic and cruelty free because blah, 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 it's all bullshit.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's like, you talk to any of the guys at the farmers market, that's pretty much what they say. They're like, yeah, that's why we can't say we're organic, is because we didn't do the dance.
Yeah, it's literally bullshit. It's like they created these categories, so then it's like you could be getting things that are closer to what you would conceive of as organic from like a farmer, from like a like small time farmer or whatever. And they're like, well, I can't legally call my produce organic.
Organic means when my eggs have a colorful label on them and a funny little cartoon character.
Organic means is really more like an experience. You know, it's more like a vibe. It's more like a feeling you get in your heart when you eat it, when you know that you're a better person than the people who don't buy organic.
That's true.
I know this guy in college. He was super into Starbucks coffee. So once we just got him like Dunkin' Donuts coffee in a Starbucks cup, and he couldn't even tell the
Yes,
difference.
exactly. I did this with my wife. I went to all of the iced coffee places and we did a blind taste test of all of them. And
Yeah.
guess what? Guess what? When it comes to the middle of the road ones, you can't tell the difference. But my wife did like I think it's Pete's. Pete's is she's big or is it Phil's? I always get those two confused. I think Phil's is the good one and Pete's is the shitty one. But she could tell the difference.
Phil's is the good
She
one.
could tell the difference between the good one and all of the other ones, and but not amongst like comparing Starbucks to McCafe or these other ones. In fact, I think she rated the Dunkin's one the lowest because it is like the cheapest coffee you can get. And she's a
Yeah,
big coffee aficionado, those white women. We love them, but boy, do they love their fucking iced coffee.
She's just like me.
The point of caffeine is to fuel the addiction and to stay up for long periods of time.
Yeah, I mean that's the Industrial Revolution is the invention of like internal lighting, caffeine, nicotine. Like everyone chain smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee at the stock exchange. That's that's London. That's that's the 18th century London. That's like Alexander Pope and shit. That's me. That's me. I'm one of those guys. That's like shit posting was invented at the coffee houses in London when people were drinking a fuck ton of coffee and smoking tobacco and shitting themselves over the South Sea bubble.
One thing, I've had the discussion going on in the background, and so I haven't been fully alert through the whole stream. But one thing that I have noticed with talking to some of these people is that they're so alienated from labor and from production, is they don't know what a commodity is.
No, they don't. They don't know what a commodity. They think a commodity is a thing you buy.
Yes, they're so absolutely consumed by consumer culture is that they think any exchange itself is commodity.
Yes, they've done this to literally everything. They don't see how this even serves like capitalist interests because they're down to the point where it's like, yeah, like all love and all sex and all of these things are actually transactions of commodities. They're transactions of abstract commodities like care. Like care is now an abstract commodity. So it's like I'm exchanging my care, and like me caring is proletarian work. Like my caring, my presentation of my care, my emotional labor is proletarian labor for the revolution. My caring about the news.
Northrop Frye, he was one of his lectures. He said that Robinson Crusoe, he came from an island of shopkeepers.
Yeah, well, that's like you can listen to the cybernetic Robinson Crusoe Confot I did so long ago.
Yeah, I love that.
It's literally like it's so fucking true. Like Robinson Crusoe is the basis of everything. I actually just learned that Robinson Crusoe, the first book of Robinson Crusoe, was written by a different Earl of Oxford when he was in jail. He wrote the first book.
Mein Kampf? What is that? Proto Mein Kampf?
Basically, in some senses. Because it does a sort of it was like he was one of the guys that lied in the Glorious Revolution of like 1688, like Daniel Defoe and those guys. Those guys are the ones who they were revolutionary in so far as they were opposed to the like ancien regime and the remnants of the feudal order and things like that at the time. Like they were this nation of shopkeepers. They were Daniel Defoe. I think even went to used to have different schools for like shopkeepers, essentially, where you learned like arithmetic, you learned like algebra and stuff like that, where they weren't learning that in the medieval universities. Algebra, is a weird alchemical Arab thing. Um, but so like they were learning like double entry bookkeeping and things like that, and their class was making more money out of the City of London Corporation. And the thing is that the City of London Corporation includes a whole bunch of craft guilds, of service worker guilds. Like that's the whole. Like if you go into the City of London Corporation, it's called Guildhall, and they have all of the different guilds, and like the corporation is run by representatives of all of these different guilds. That's this model of social democracy is based on this.
Yo, I got a question.
Yeah.
So, do you think that at least all I can speak for is in America, do you think that Americans don't understand production as much as other parts of the world?
Yeah, because they have less of it.
less production happens
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Well, we just like produce memes, like with just culturally.
Yeah.
Did you see that
Like,
meme that blew up yesterday?
Out of all of us
with,
here,
you and RK.
Yeah. Well, like out of all of us here, like how much of us I've done proletarian labor like for like a year of my life total, when I worked in a factory when I was in college, and I didn't do it all the time. I worked on weekends. So I mean, that's the only time I've ever done real proletarian labor. I guess I did in the summer. When I was in high school, I moved library books, but that was really a service. But I was technically a temp worker. So the person who was my boss was a service worker, but I was one of their proletarian hires, I guess. But that's not really
Is there a single job? Is there a single job on a film set that's like not service work? Because I was trying to think about it. I don't
it's
think
really
there
like
is.
well, the thing is that everything like most of like the actual proletarian labor that exists in America is done on these like microscopic levels of underneath what things that are now redescribed as services or whatever. So for instance, like you guys need food on a Hollywood set, right? And a lot of that's pre-prepared food, right? So you might hire a service to like move to like buy like purchase like a caterer or something like that, or like stock the fridges with like Red Bulls and whatever. And the real proletarian labor is always the lower in the supply chain or whatever, right? So it's like, oh, there's a ton of proletarian labor that makes all of this Hollywood work possible. All of this surplus value has enabled us to through our like luxurious overproduction of value, we can afford to make Marvel movies because we have such an excess that we can invest it in making Marvel movies.
I think too, people who work at distribution centers, that I think that's like one of the last few things that are still functioning in terms of infrastructure.
Well, I mean, there's also like
Is like
brewers.
Amazon warehouses.
There's like brewers. There's like people making things.
Well,
There's
that's
like
true.
coopers. Like there's a lot of these like old trade work still exists. Electricians, pipe fitters, construction workers, sewage technicians, septic tank guys. It's fucking there's a lot of proletarian work. It's just not a substantial part of the economy in total. Our economy is all services. It's like over 70% services.
I remember when I was growing up and you're in school and they're always telling you to think about your future. Basically, they said that we had two choices, and there was the blue collar route, which was to work in some sort of like contractor business, like masonry,
electric, plumbing,
like electric,
HVAC,
plumbing, landscaping, stuff like that, or go to college and do whatever
and be a service worker. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like the kind of like non-Marxist blue collar versus white collar understanding has kind of befuddled what people's understanding of production is in Marxism.
It is because like for instance, people are saying I'm doing culture war, right? By saying that baristas are not the industrial proletariat, that is a culture war statement, because effectively what they're saying, like they already understand that when every normal person hears the term working class, they think of people doing stuff like that, like people building literal things, like hard hats and things like that. And these people are like, all of those people are stupid. The real counterintuitive thing is that actually those people are petite bourgeois and reactionary, whereas the real proletariat are coffee baristas. And these people are very progressive. So they're enforcing this. They're actually the ones doing culture war in this terminology, because they can't even be honest about real Marxist political economy. All of that's meaningless to them. The truth is meaningless to them. What makes them feel good is what they care about, effectively. Which is why they can even fall for this kind of bullshit argument where we're going to be like, oh, like, because the landscaper owns his truck, he's petite bourgeois, whereas because I bike to my job at Starbucks, even though I own the bike, that's not actually like capital according to the way that I conceive of things. And actually, I'm the real proletariat. And if you say that I'm not, you're just doing culture war because you think the aesthetics of someone doing actual work is more like you. It makes you feel that like it's all projection and nonsense. I don't know. Does that make sense? Do I need to go off more on that?
No, I think you make complete sense. Like as a barista, I've been doing it for like 2 years, literally as of today. And like the second I started reading like your threads about all this stuff, I was like intuitively, I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
like of
I've been a
course, like
barista, man.
we're not.
Like, like I'm not like these people think I'm like, I'm a graduate professor or something who's never done a real day's work in his fucking life, and I'm just being a snob. Like, it's not true. Like, I literally haven't ever had a high prestige job. I've literally only ever worked shitty jobs my entire life. I have not, like, I could have, gotten internships and done more high prestige service work, but stupid fuck that I am, was like, I'm gonna keep hold of my authenticity or whatever. So I'm gonna work like shitty jobs. It was also the only thing I could get, frankly.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of like the position I'm in right now, where it's like this is really the only kind of job I can do. We don't really have any like industrial jobs, sort of where I'm at right now.
I mean,
Especially not for like college dropouts and that sort of
if I
thing.
stayed in Texas, I was gonna go into like industrial brewing. So I might end up doing that now that I'm leaving California again. Like I want to have like a good proletarian job, like more than anything in the fucking world. If I could be like, okay, so
Oh, I feel you.
I know exactly what hours and what I'm doing, like 5 days a week, like no fucking surprises, nothing like I don't have to, and like I don't have to be like standing reserve emotions for other people. Like service work does suck. Like it does suck to be servants for other people. I would like, because like obviously if I wanted to be like a real servant writer here, a servant for capital, and just like orient all of my production of as a service, as an intellectual service or whatever. If I wanted to cater all of that to me just making money and like acquiring a mass fan base or whatever, I obviously wouldn't be saying the shit that I'm saying, right? Obviously, I wouldn't be saying the shit that I'm saying. I can do that. I can do what all of these other people are doing, and I can just like bloviate and say complete nonsense, which is very salable in this marketplace of ideas and is completely untrue. But like I, stupid fuck that I am, care about the truth and what is actually true, even if it costs me everything. Even if it means that if I said all this and I lost all of my Patreon subscribers or whatever, I would think that was worth it to me, because I care primarily about that. Like I don't care primarily about how much money I'm making. Clearly I don't care primarily about how much my income is coming from me doing the work that I do as a service here of writing and speaking and things like that. Clearly this isn't like solely for money. If it was solely for money, I would be doing things very differently. Trust me. I've thought about it too. I've thought about it. I really did. This is especially true back when I was like just getting in trouble with all of the right wingers for not being racist enough or whatever. Where I was like, do I want to pretend? Do I want to pretend like I'm like more bigoted than I actually am, just because that'll assuage this larger audience and I could like get more money from that? Like I could do that, I can pretend that I'm like a white nationalist or something, and that's probably more lucrative for a specific niche demographic. I could capture that, right? I could capture that little niche demographic like Nick Fuentes has or whatever. But I care more about the actual truth. So if I change my mind on something and it alienates a bunch of my readers, I don't give a fuck.
I feel like that's kind of what really kills me about like service jobs in general is that you have to feign like every single emotion to sort of sell the product, and it's a lot less so like I tell my coworkers all the time, I'm like, yeah, like this is basically just like we're not even like making job or making coffee. It's like basically incidental to the
It is
actual
true.
job.
Yeah, it
Like
is. That's like part of what like gives it the whole experience some authenticity is like that you actually do have to make the coffee. But if they put up a wall such that you couldn't watch what actually happens when people are making the coffee, and you guys all just like poured like like pre-assembled cans of coffee or whatever into a thing, I think maybe we'll see that happen if they have to cut costs somewhere.
no, I mean like it could totally be like completely automated. Like the very like literally my job is I will take like a pump of like Tarani sauce and I'll mix it with like coffee and like sugar and milk and that's it. There's nothing else to it. We have like a proprietary energy drink that's also just like Tarani syrups and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like we're not like actually making
The
anything. We're
thing
not
is
like
that like
doing
service
anything.
work is less bad the more that you actually believe in what you're doing. Like I if you work at a bar that you like, right, as a bartender, and you're like, I like the vibes here, I like just hanging out here. It's sometimes it doesn't even really feel like a job. Like a lot of the times when I was working, I was like, I made friends with like the regulars at the bar or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to show up and make a bunch of money for like hanging out with people that I like talking to, and like having them buy me drinks for free just so that I can hang out with them. And it's like, this is a great job. Like, I had a great time doing it while it lasted before COVID. It was pretty nice. Like, I wasn't bitching about
I
my
was gonna
job.
say, I was gonna say that there's servants who hate their service, and so it feels soul crushing because you don't want to be doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't care about the skill that should be
Yeah.
developed.
And like, for instance, a teacher, like an English teacher, maybe they don't make as much money as like they should, for or whatever, but it's really hard to estimate how much value that really is. Like a teacher as a service is very difficult to determine who's a good teacher from a bad teacher, especially when it comes to things that are harder to test for. You could say a good math teacher is one who outfits their students with the abilities to answer this set of math questions or whatever. But like with an English teacher, it's much harder because it's like you teach them how to read. How do you test if they know how to read? That's more and more subjective, and it's more and more difficult to like truly have an objective value on that. But when it comes to the experience of being a teacher like that, if you truly love literature, like I truly enjoy what I do, like what I'm doing right now, even. I truly enjoy it. I'm enjoying myself right now. This is fun for me. So it's not like alienating to me to be doing this. However, if like I was someone who hated reading books and talking about literature, and I had to do this, this was my service job. I had to pretend that I gave a fuck every single day, like so many public school teachers do. It would be pretty miserable. That's why the service work is like it is the way that it is. If you like your fucking feudal lord and you're their servant in the retinue, you're the groom of the stool. You wipe the king's ass, but you and the king are fucking boys, and he's giving you a bunch more money than he's given to like the people farming. Then you're like, I fucking made it. I don't give a shit if I wipe the king's ass. This fucking rocks.
Do you think that the reason why people, I guess, the discourse has made some people so upset could be because like people want to draw lines based on like
Culture shit.
occupation as to like whether you should feel good or bad about what you're doing as opposed to
It comes from
like
this. I'll
what
tell you
you
what it is.
actually
I'll tell you
do.
what it is. It's that people want to build these coalitions based off of aesthetics and people that they like and they personally find like valuable to themselves, in their construction of their identity. So like their conception of working class, like proletariat, the real workers, etc. In their mind, this is solely just an aesthetic interest, right? Where it's all of the people that they identify as being valuable to themselves and like who they see themselves as. So they're like, yeah, I as a barista am the same thing as like a Congolese cobalt miner who's enslaved by warlords. Like we're effectively the same. We're effectively the same because we're both fighting the power or something like that, right? The reason they want to do this is so that they don't have to actually like look at the real industrial proletariat based off of like more theoretical, more like material, you could say scientific analysis of things, and anatomical, qualitative distinction. Because then if you do that and you look at these actual people and you look at the opinions and the things that they value and express, you're like, wait a minute, these people aren't like me. Actually, I don't like them. You know, like I don't like these people. I don't like the the Purdue chicken plucker, the guy on the factory line there. Do you think he has the most progressive views on gender? I doubt it. He didn't go to college.
I think too, for a lot of them, it's a misguided form of class consciousness, or like a pseudo one, I
Well,
guess.
it's like
They want to posture it. Yeah, it's an aesthetic. It's reaching for an aesthetic, but they have no clue because they're completely alienated from what value and commodity actually is.
Yeah, it's a form of
the
like leftist
audience is a
populism.
workforce.
It's a form of progressive populism. It's just social democracy. And like as we say, it's moderate fascism, okay? Like it's fascism with more woke aesthetics, right? It's more palatable fascism. That's all it is.
I think it's also colonialism, because
Well, of
okay,
course.
so when I worked at Starbucks in undergrad, they have like the regional manager that comes around and checks if the store is dirty and criticizes everyone and stuff like that. And the dude came in and he's like, we care so much about ethically sourcing our beans. And then he holds up a map and then he says, that's why we source our beans from Sumatra and pay them very well. And then he tries to point at Sumatra, but he actually points at Borneo,
Of course,
because it doesn't know where Sumatra is.
Yeah. And how much? And you go like, okay, well, how much is that? Like, what is that? Like, what do you mean ethically sourced? How do you determine how much they deserve? How do you determine what their value is? Like who is determining that actually that it's fair? Oh, well, it's our class
The
of service
Indonesian
workers.
government.
It's our class of service workers who do that as a service. They studied this in college. They studied ethically sourcing shit in college and business school. That was their minor. That was their emphasis or whatever.
Or the bourgeois elements in the Indonesian government gave this our trade deal stamp of approval or whatever on it being ethical.
Yeah, or we built an like the USAID or whatever, made an NGO there, and that NGO has given it a credential as being ethically sourced. That's what it means every single time.
Dude, it's really funny because at my job, like at the drive-through, we get like this coffee, like we get like a special bean or whatever, like every 6 months from a different place around the world. And like we have like a little like poster with like talking points on it. And it always has like a photo of like, it's like, oh, this is like Juan or whatever from Colombia. He's like out in the fields. And like he says that like this particular bean is like a great bean. It's like Rainforest Alliance certified and all this stuff. And like
that's why you have to pay
like
more
he would
for
want
it,
you to like to tell
more.
your customers this.
Yeah, we want you to tell the customers this so that they don't ask as many questions for why it's $5 for a cup of coffee. Well, it's worth it. Why is it worth it? Because it's better for everyone. It's woke. Oh, okay. Then I'm woke. I'll pay $5. That's it. It's the whole business model. It's amazing. It's really amazing what this level of capitalism creates. This level of financialized shit just creates these fucking weird chimeras, these weird things like Starbucks, the lifestyle brand that happens to sell coffee. Like, why the fuck would Marx have predicted? They act like it's like, oh yeah, Marx predicted lifestyle brands. It's fucking psychotic. We've invented so much crazy shit to avoid.
Have you seen the funny have you seen the Starbucks like drive-through pay it forward people who like buy the drinks of the person behind them and then they try to keep the change?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that as an ad.
I think so.
Because that's what advertising is now. Like advertising is shit like that. It's like creating experiences, like creating like oh you have to have they're doing this like celebrities, right? Where it's like, oh, you got to have the Jack Harlow meal experience, like you know what I mean at KFC, right? You got to have this
Travis Scott burger.
The Travis Scott burger experience. Like,
well, the like pay it forward thing like also creates like the opposite of it, where it's like, oh no, I'm woke, so I won't participate in this. I will instead tip my entire bill to you instead,
Yeah.
to the barista. So it's like this whole loop. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I actually finished doing my self-service laundry instead of hiring a service worker to do it on my behalf. But at no point during it did I create any surplus value for anybody. I don't need to be paid for this. Okay. But if you would like
Is
to
it
pay for
surplus
it,
value
I
if
did
you
serve.
fold it into like a little square and then you smile later?
I'll charge my wife when I do that. I'll tell her that I created that surplus value for her, and that she's exploiting me if she doesn't smile back. All right. Well, anyway,
Oh, that's so
if you would
cute.
like to tip me for my proletarian labor, no, it wasn't really proletarian labor, my service work of talking while folding and doing my own fucking laundry, feel free to hit me up on the Patreon, guys. I'm gonna be moving all the way across the country. I'll probably be doing some spaces like in the drive at some point too, and maybe at some point finish up. I got my laptop back, so I can finally finish the latest app. But I'm getting out of here, guys. Peace.